Welcome traders, welcome back to another live session on Thursday 15th of January 2026. After previous daily live session, we are back on another session to begin with. Here in this live session, we will be looking for trading opportunity and based on the lower time frame entry and multiple time frame analysis. So before I progress with this analysis, make sure you give a thumbs up, traders, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. I hope that the stream is on. Can you say yes in the live chat if you can hear me? Can you hear and see me? Thank you very much. Welcome. All right, so looking at gold now for an entry in this market. This is currently, we can see it's a pretty stronger price action that we can see on gold. And with this uptrending market structure on gold, we are looking at entry on a pullback. So first of all, we are going to look at again the multiple time frame analysis, looking at the monthly chart to see overall direction in this market. Now multi time frame is key. As you know that with the multi time frame we can have better understanding of the market structure and we can understand the trend, how the price action is forming. With multiple time frame also we can look at the bigger picture here. So if you look at this price action here on the monthly on gold, you can see that this is bullish market creating series of higher high and higher low, which is in an uptrending market structure. Starting off this level, you can see the market is maintaining this series of higher low where it's a pretty stronger bullish market structure with a stronger monthly impulse back to the upside here. Looking at the weekly chart to see how the market is evolving, that we can see from the weekly time frame. This is the weekly back-to-back 2 weeks. The market has created this series of higher high and higher low. And if you look at here, you can see there's a gap open here, there's a gap open here, 2 significant gap opens given that gold to eventually bounce off this level because it's a long-term bullish market structure. By the way, let me share the links in the group, and I believe you guys are ready for another big trading day. Today is coming up unemployment claims and we will be looking to trade this unemployment claims shortly after for this session with the news. And in the meantime also you can stay connected by joining the Telegram. You can find link below this video, and also I'm sharing Telegram link here. Stay connected. Join Telegram, stay connected for all the updates as well as for the education. Now that being said, beginning with today's complete multiple time frame analysis. All right, so thanks for joining. I'm looking at here the in detail analysis in the market. So now we are on the weekly chart, right? So with this weekly price action, that you can see. This is the weekly market structure where the price is maintaining series of higher high and higher low, which is in an uptrend. And in that uptrending market structure, welcome. Do you think gold will reach all-time high today? It's already in an all-time high. Hello sir, welcome. Gold already in an all-time high. So the question is how far it's gonna move. Now, so far, the overall trend in gold is significantly bullish. If you look at looking at the daily chart here. Now this is the daily price action that you can see. Now, interesting price action on the daily. After the previous daily green candle closed as a gap open, today's market, if you look at, has tested the lower shadow of this support level here, and the market has tested the lower shadow of this support level, and this is the daily doji, right? Now, daily chart is crucial. This is where I look at every time. Welcome, Luford. Thank you for joining here. So daily market structure is quite significant, as there is a gap open on the daily, and with this gap open, the market has created this has tested that support and then rejected back to the upside. So if you closely look at, there is a very important point that we can note down here, is that first of all, the market today has penetrated the previous daily low. Now, why it is so important? Let's look at that. These are okay. These are the crucial level or crucial points that we need to note down. If we are trading gold, but you can look at Bitcoin, you can look at euro dollar, British pound, US dollar, all operates with the same principle, same market structure. So any strategy working one currency pair, any analysis is applicable for all the currencies. Now, looking at here, you can see this is the daily support, right? Now, what is this point is significant, right? Why it is significant is because of one reason, is that starting from here, what do you see? That look at this from this level. Okay, so there is one important thing that you can note down starting from here, is that every single day the market was maintaining a series of higher lows. So when you look at an uptrend, guys, keep in mind that considering an uptrend is important to look at that series of higher low. And when the market is maintaining that series of higher low, that's an uptrend. But when the price breaks out of that series of higher low, when the market breaks that series of higher low, that's important, because when the price breaks that series of higher low, if you look at here, you can see the market has penetrated back below, has broken out of that series of higher low, and because it has broken out of that series of higher low, that means it gained momentum. Okay, so, and with that gaining momentum, with that series of higher low, if you look at, the price has broken that series of higher low, grab the liquidity where it rejected back to the upside here. So that means this level that you can see here, with this retest of this support, with this series of higher low, the market got rejected back to the upside. And with that rejection, the price now is building its momentum back to the upside. So therefore, one important thing, guys, is that you see the previous daily candle closed with a, it's like sitting a green candle at the top. There is a possible for another retest of this support today here as coming up. If we look at, okay, so now if you look at the previous today's news, which is we are focusing on that unemployment claims coming in few hours. We will be trading in this live session, so don't miss out any part of that. As the market is has tested that support level, and there is an unemployment claims coming, so it is less likely that without retest it's gonna directly go back and create a bull candle. This is the first thing, because it's already created a downward channel here. Now at the same time, the long-term trend here is bullish. So because it's a long-term trend is bullish, we are looking at this market, okay, for buy opportunity. Now let's see that where the market was heading back. Now we had an earlier trade. If you looked at the premium group, also I'm going to discuss that entry that I have taken, also I have shared in the premium from this level here. Okay, so this is a key support level, and we have entered successful entry from this key support level that has successfully closed. We secured significant peep on that one. So this is a pre-London session analysis that I have shared in both Telegram group. So if you haven't joined here, let me share with you the Telegram group link where I do share the pre-London session analysis, which is important to if you are an active trader or thinking of becoming a trader, then this analysis and trade setup is given in that session in that Telegram. You can join that. Now you see that simplicity is the core of trading, because you can, we discuss about the Elliott wave, complex strategies. Okay, if you can bring a lot, but if you look at this trade that we have opened, the analysis is worked out exactly well, right? So do you need a complex? This analysis for gold? Yes, it is analysis for gold. Okay, if you look at this, is the analysis was made, and check out the Telegram where I have shared. Okay, now look at the current chart here. Exactly worked out well, right? Look at the 15 minutes here, and from that point onward, the market has made more 230 pips so far. Okay, so it's still potentially to move up. So that means you need simple strategy, but understanding the multiple time frame move in the market, which is the key here. Okay, so looking at the multiple time frame, when you know that how to trade based on the multiple time frame analysis, you are always ahead in your trading. Keep in mind, traders, multiple time frame is key, because the market moves based on the higher time frame and the lower time frame synchronization together. Because if you look at the 1 minute chart, looking at the 5 minutes, you might be seeing a very different picture. If you look at the 1 minute chart, you might be seeing a completely different picture. See that how the 1 minute chart played out. If you look at the daily it's an entirely different picture. If you look at the weekly, it's another picture, right? So that's a very important that you always look at the multiple time frame aspect. Okay, looking at the multiple time frame analysis, where you understand that how the higher time frame is playing out with the lower time frame. So therefore, bigger picture and the smaller picture together combining to see that overall market direction, overall bias in the market. So that being said, the multiple time frame confirmation here is to be bullish, and I'm looking at now the 5-minute chart. We can look at always a different time frame. You see that I frequently change time frame. This is my habit. Sometime, it might be little harder for traders to follow so many time frame, but if you are used to it, it becomes much easier. Okay, so the key here is to look at the multiple time frame, and once you look at the multiple time frame over and over again, so the best practice that I use is I don't just look once, few times. Okay, so look at that, for example, 15 minutes, right? Now going to the 1 minute, and then looking at 15 minutes again, and then going to the 1 minute. So once you see over and over again, it's gonna create a pattern in your brain, right? So it's important to know that, because our brain recognizes something based on pattern. Pattern is an universal language, right? There are two kinds of language you can find. One is the local, the other one is the universal. A small child, when just started to see the world, they understand through their brain, through pattern. Okay, it doesn't require any language. So that's why even if you don't know, you don't have any educational background, you still can be a good trader by understanding the pattern, understanding how the market moves. So therefore, looking at the multiple time frame will give you better understanding of the market structure. Now here I'm looking at the 1 minute chart, as the market trend is bullish, so you will be connecting 1 minute with other time frames, such as the 15 minutes and the higher time frame. Okay, so this is, if you look at, this is a 4 hour, and so lower time frame, you can see the market is slowly building that momentum here, and that might take the price back to the upside here. So looking at here, there are imbalance in that direction that you can see to the upside, and the market may eventually bounce off that level. This is the daily high, and today's high. That let's mark that up, so we know that in terms of the daily where the market is. And this is a break of support here that you can see. From here there was an initial bounce from that level. Now there is a potential for further deepen, and then because back to back 2 sessions there is a bullish move, there's a chance for this market to drop for a deeper pullback, and then looking at the lower time frame for an entry. So the market left, this is, if you look at, this is a consolidation, breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback. So it is an uptrend. There is a change of trend here from this downtrend to an uptrend with a crossover of 10 and 20 exponential moving averages. So here is looking at, therefore, an entry Okay, I hope that the screen is on now. Okay. So our eye here that you can see as the market is has started its uptrend here. It's maintaining that bullish structure. We are looking at for a possible upside bias here. So also the calendar that if you look at here, coming up shortly after, which is unemployment claims in few hours, and with that unemployment claims we will be looking for an entry before or after this news release. So that's a very high impact news. Definitely will have some impact in the market. Are those analysis for gold? Yes, these are the analysis for gold. What's your view on gold? I'm posting a pool here, guys. You can see that starting a pool really helps. So what's your view on gold today? I'm sharing a pool. So do you think that if we look at daily, because we saw that in the past the pool really helps when you see the most of them how thinking the market reflect that. So do you think that XAUUSD daily resistance break, XAUUSD daily resistance break? So I have shared two questions. You can vote on that to see that which one potentially to likely to play out, either XAUUSD breaking out of this daily support or breaking back to the daily resistance line. So creating series of higher high and higher low in an uptrend, and we are looking at entry on a breakout structure. So this is the 5 minutes market structure. This is the current support level. As soon as the market breaks off the structure, we can look at entry on a pullback. So this is the 5 minute chart. has broken out of the structure, looking at pullback on from this high to the low, and once the market done enough pullback, we can look at entry to the upside. Okay, so potentially we see that there is a break here to this support, and breaking below can be an opportunity for us to go long here. If this market drops straight down below here, if you look at the 1 minute, you can see it's slowly building that momentum, can be a significant entry, right? Now, if you look at the trade that we have opened in London session, during the London session breakout, exactly this is where our entry was, right? So if you look at here, and let me bring that up here. This is our analysis, and if we look at so at this level, when we look at the entry, okay, so if you see there is a entirely a break below here. Okay, so it was a complete break below. In that downtrend, opening a buy is sometime, it might go very difficult as a trader to sometime to enter, in a downtrend to the upside. So that's why the multi-time frame comes, because when you trade based on the multiple time frame, when you look at the lower time frame and the higher time frame all together, you started to see the bigger picture. Okay, and at the same time bringing that entry alert here. So this is also the entry was, I believe, for those who are in our premium group can have got access to that. So the trade was entered at 4601. It was an entry by market, so there might be a little different in the entry. Stop loss at 4594.80 and TP set at 4609.30, but we closed earlier for this to take this move back to the upside to keep the win rate is higher. So here, that's the level that the market has penetrated back below, created a higher low, and entirely broken back to the upside. And it's still maintaining that move that you can see from that level. So our trade entry was here. The entry logic is basically a reversal, right? That's where you need to focus on, especially if you see that the market is reversing to a major direction of the trend. That's the entry logic. And the stop loss is below the structure, below the key level, because the market already created a reversal. So we have that level that we can enter. And we have the stop loss logic that we placed well below. The market didn't move that far. It reversed back to the upside. Now all trade may not go in your favor, but when it goes, that's where you need to focus on so that you can repeat the same kind of trade over and over again. Now here is what you're looking at the moment. In the meantime, there is a breakup structure here, right? So let's see that if we are having an entry in this movement here now at the moment. Intraday, 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, the market is maintaining that trend here. Looking at, there might be a deeper pullback. Okay, so if you look at here, from here, it's entirely broken back below at the moment. So we might be able to see a break back to the upside here in this market. Okay, so and with that breakout, we might see the market to go ahead and create a new higher high in this market. So we'll be looking at to see if this is coming down further for a deeper pullback, or we might see a rejection back above here to create a new higher high. So far in this area that you can see, there is a downside pressure that you can see so far in that area. So it might deepen further, but if the market creates that bullish impulse back to the upside, you will be entering, or we might see significantly deeper pullback here in this market. And this is 1 hour candlestick pattern. It's coming down for potentially deeper move here. Here's a move back to the upside here that we can see there is a rejection of this lower price. Now considering an entry shortly after, if you guys are having an idea, you can share in the live chat, and also you can write if you want any chart to be analyzed. Here's a breakup structure. The market is slowly cracking back to the upside here. That's where we are looking at this market to give us an entry. As you can see, there is a cross of 20 EMA and the market reversed back again to the upside after this cross of 20 EMA. And possibility here is still back to the upside. If you look at, there's a rejection of this lower price on XAUUSD. Four-hour candle closed. Now this is daily high, okay, at 4632. 4625 is the daily zone where the market may experience a rejection. Here is the lower time frame. There is a doji being formed. Now this is a two-way area where the market, we could see further deepen or bouncing off that level. So you can, there is a long wick on the 5 minutes after this close of this candle. Market may here come down further. So I'm not looking at yet entry. We want to enter a high probability setup. Waiting for an entry shortly after, and I hope that you guys enjoying the live session. Make sure you give a thumbs up, and also have you subscribed? If you haven't done, you can do so. Press the notification bell so that you are not missing any of the content that I am posting every day. Okay, so here is the after break of this high. It's creating a rejection of this level. Some music on, and we will be looking at entry as soon as we find that. Okay, so we are getting to 1 hour candle close shortly here, and that candle close might make that market to drop further below here, or we might see that reaction of that level. Now when the market in this kind of area, the best way is to wait for the price to show up first. Okay, so what's coming up this week also in terms of the fundamental? Now, trading is a combination of technical, fundamental, right? So fundamental is about sentiment as well as the data. Now, unemployment claims is very important because that will also, what is the implication of unemployment in the price movement? Let's understand that it's a simple rules. For those who are studying the education on the website, here I have discussed about in the advanced fundamental analysis that you can find on the website dashboard. But guys, there is a saying, if you look at in a broader perspective, if you cannot explain to something to a smaller kid, then you don't understand it. That's the simple rule. Okay, no matter how complex a phenomena, if you understand, you should be able to explain it to a grade 1 or 2 kids. So that's where, so the fundamental here is what you need to be able to understand in a simple way. And that's why if you are studying, if you are in the academy, you can go to the student dashboard. In the website, there's a dashboard where you can see how simplified it was made in terms of how you can predict the market based on fundamental. Okay, so there are some data release coming. Is it advisable to initiate a buy limit while waiting for the entry? I would say that being patient is better. There is a rejection here and we are looking for entry on a, so if you look at, there is a doji, there might be further move here and data coming, so the bias is to the upside, but you want to see a level to be created because this is a, if you look at this, is still a fresh candle, 4 hour, still 3 hours remaining. So we are looking at here for a clean support create so that we can enter in that support. Here is the market created a, you can see this is a complete break below to the support 20 EMA and rejection of that 20 EMA now. Therefore, it may move in the sideway a little more time before it eventually break to the upside. So the current support level that I'm looking at is here. As soon as you see the market has given that entry, will be looking into that. So going back to that here, so unemployment claims, how that influence, or we can find directional bias in the market based on the data. So if we look at the DXY, we can understand how it's gonna be. So if you look at the DXY, you can see this is a DXY is from the daily, it is a bullish market structure, right? So if you look at here, series of higher low, it's a bull market, and because on a bull market creating series of higher low, which is an uptrend, and looking at here on gold. Now going back to that one here. So how does the unemployment claims could show a directional bias in the currency, which we'll be looking at. So when you're looking gold here today, gold is still bullish, but we might see that deeper pullback. We had initially one trade during the London session, also was a bullish trade from the support. It bounced off the level, giving us that entry, secured profit. Now we are looking at in this session also the similar kind of setup. That means so far we see that bull, so we will be looking at to trade in the direction of the trend. Okay, so that being said, now going to okay, so we are looking at now here the fundamental perspective that we're discussing about the unemployment claims, how it's gonna influence or the market or pricing. So here actual less than forecast is good for currency. This is a very generic effect that is explained here, but in actual sense it's little different. Okay, so if you look at, let's look at the news, and then we'll be looking at that one. Okay, so with that on unemployment claims, if you look at okay, so this is a lagging information though, because once the data release, it's already expired, right? But overall, when there is a higher unemployment claims, is a sign of the weakening job market. Okay, and that's overall the strength of the economy or growth. It's always is two-edged source. Okay, if you look at that, it's also related to other factors such as the inflation, monetary policy, many other factors will be related to that unemployment claim. So all that goes down to one single factor, which is the interest rate, which is the major way the market trades based on those data, right? Now, how do we trade those data or the rate cut? Firstly, when we are trading on the fundamental, we don't directly trade the fundamental, but it creates a move. We'll be discussing later, slowly after, how to understand how this data is really influencing the market. So we're looking at gold ahead today, bearish or bullish? You're looking at so far bullish. What's your opinion? Gold technically bullish or bearish? So far we are looking at gold from the bigger picture perspective that it's bullish, but you want to see that breakout structure here, as this is the 15-minute chart. The market is in a consolidation. It's maintaining that series of couple of swing low. Okay, so quite a few swing lows and swing highs, which is in fact, this is the levels that you can see. The market is maintaining that series of higher high and higher low, which is in an uptrending market structure, waiting for the price to break off that recent support level. That is where the best entry comes, as if the market breaks off that support, it will create a new momentum in the market. Okay, so it's breaking out of that support level, and it's breaking out of the support, and with that break of that support, now as we mentioned earlier, that it may fail to create a higher high, instead it's creating a lower low. From the intraday perspective, from 4-hour chart here, I'm going to delete those levels to see clear directional bias. Now, if you look at, this is the 1-hour doji here, right? So there is a possibility now to have a little deeper drop here. There's a very uncertain area here. It might break below for another new lower low, or we might see that it's breaking above. So you need to rearrange the levels that you have drawn for potential continuation or breaking below. Okay, so this is where you can see some kind of bearish move so far. That might take the market back below here to the support level. I'm a full-time trader for a very long period of time. This is only the things that I do. I'm based in Australia, in Melbourne. Where are you guys based in? I see that many of you already viewing. So where are you based in? You can share your. Also, how long you are trading? All right, so let's begin here on this. If you look at here, you can see there is multiple times head and shoulder has created, and then 2 times liquidity sweep, got the rejection back below, and so this is where the market here showing that we may see that further drop down here in this market. So 15 minutes candle close with a big bearish engulfer with 2 rejection. Here the local it's bearish. So as we discussed that the daily price action, the market initially bounced off this daily support. Therefore, there is a potential for break below. Okay, so I'm looking at now for short-term selling opportunity, guys. With the coming up very soon, also the NY open, and there might be volume coming shortly. So I'm preparing for a potential selling entry as soon as it appears here. Okay, so there is a. If you look at here, this is an imbalance. Okay, it's an imbalance in the market, and the market moves from imbalance to the imbalance. So therefore, this is where there might be it's a fair value gap, and the price may come back here to fill that fair value gap. There is a potential for deeper drop. So preparing for a bearish trade here after this market go back up for a pullback. With proper risk management is key. And so looking at, if you look at the 15 minutes here, there is a potential for rejection back below. So I'm looking at for shortly an entry. Thank you, welcome. So the retracement can come back again back to the daily low. Okay, so there is a potential for the market even to, as unemployment claims coming, and the market may eventually come back to test the daily low here. Okay, so it's consolidating here. Wanna see that. Now we will be placing a pending order below this support level here. If the market breaks below, we'll be on the trade. And I'm looking at a sell stop order below this level. Keeping the stop loss above all this high. TP target below this level. Welcome. And we are looking at here the sell stop. At 4614.19. Okay, so I'm going to enter by market this trade with, as the market dropped already below our entry criteria. So this is a significant drop here. And I'm placing the stop loss in the same place at 4617.82 and TP target here at 4610.69. So share the same trade here as well. Now wanting to see the market is breaking that low below here to create a new lower low. I'm on a trade. There's some little drawdown here, so expecting it to break the low here. So anything can happen. Broken out of that structure here. If it carries that false breakout, then it might be eventually bounce back to the upside. If we get out, we will be re-entering again, but here it reached that level. Okay, so there is a you look at here, there is a false breakout, reaction back below that might bring that market further downside here. On the trade here, there is here quite a few long wick candles here. Now this zone can be with this breakout, this can be a liquidity grab and the market can come back down, or we might see that it's forming an invert here and show the price is going back to the upside. So both directional bias is possible, but the higher probability that we are looking at for short term for the market to break that low here to create a new lower low, as the overall trend is bullish. We see there is a short-term drop possible here in that market. So this is what we are looking at for this potential move back. But you see there is a as there is a data coming, there can be any move here. So what you can see in this break back to the upside, 37 pip, it's gone up to our stop loss at 37 pip. So we'll be re-entering. It just got back above for potentially to retest again. Try to take that move back below. Might have a range here. Welcome. What we are looking at. Okay, so it's maintaining that series of higher lows, so therefore it might range in this narrow area. Back to back 3 long wick candles. I'm going to see maybe upside back here. This is a very unusual breakout. Take the next entry for we are looking to see, if you look at here, after break of this low, it got the rejection back above again, and with that reaction back above, the market may eventually break that high back above here to create a new higher high in this market. So now if it is breaking out of the trend line, do you think that silver can drop to 89? Silver and gold almost follow each other, so we'll be looking at, I think they're both almost moving in the same direction if you look at. But gold is, if you look at that, it dropped back down again, got rejection back above here, and longer narrow doji that you can see in this market. Okay, so there is another lower time frame pin bar being formed here. This is a bullish price action so far here. Okay, so you can see slowly building that momentum. Still not entering, but we will be looking to see that after this 30 minutes closed, how the market is creating the structure. Tight stop loss is important so that we can repeat if needed. Here is, there is a session I'm still not entering, but we was just looking to see that what is the possible scenario can happen with this session here. With this, if you look at here, quite a few narrower 10 and 20 MA crossed over area here in that area, and quite a few long week candlestick pattern as well. So from here, this market is maintaining a head and shoulder, can continue to drop, or you could see that bouncing back again. I'm looking at the 1 hour here again. Let it drop further down. So here this is a nearest liquidity zone in this market, 4620, and welcome traders here. With this long week, pretty long rejection here, as if you look at the 5 minutes closing as a big red candle. I will be patient here because there is a session open coming and also the volume coming. So this 15 minutes candle may come down further before it eventually bounce off that level. So here we would like to look for a test of this support and then reaction back above here in this market. Hello trader, welcome. So with the upcoming session opening, if this current candlestick pattern not being able to break the low, okay, this is the 30 minutes price action, then we might see that breaking that high. But currently the market in a pretty, I'd say that it's a very nasty consolidation. So that consolidation is sometimes, you know, it's very tiring to trade in those kind of consolidation. Okay, so in that case the best way is to wait for the market to show up the clear structure, okay, and then we will be entering into the trade. All right, so Okay, so looking at in this movement here on the lower time frame, where the market to eventually, if you look at 15 minutes here, there's a narrow doji, and with this narrow doji expecting the market to break back above. So far we see there is a weaker response from the sellers. We tried to sell here, the market didn't break the line. Instead we saw there was a break back to the upside. So as session volume coming, we may see what I think this market to break out of this to the upside. So there is a lower time frame trend line that you can see, and this trend line is what you want to trade now at the moment. Okay, so with the closing of the opening of NY session, looking for that session volume coming in the market. Okay, so we could see that now break up this trend line that we are looking at, potential for a break below. Okay, so it back to price action closed here in that area. The market is slowly coming down for a pullback, and this is where we are looking at for the market to potentially bounce off that level. Now with this break below, we will be looking for entry after a break of trend line, as there is a session open coming. With a break of trend line, we will be looking for an entry in this market for a possible upside. Okay, here it created a price action which is showing that there is a potential upside bias. Still not entering, just looking at to see what kind of market structure it might be forming. So we'd like to see the market to break below here with from this trend line, and okay, it's breaking below. We'll be waiting to see further break below, and from here there is 40 pip, nearly to 40 pip. Still bearish, and still the market is showing possible further break below. And as there is a, if you look at the 1 hour price action and the 4 hour, it's coming for potentially deeper pullback here. So getting the reaction from this key support level. Now this is the level that I would like to look for possible trading opportunity once the market has done enough price action confirmation here in that area. And getting the reaction from the support. So I'll be using an entry order here. Okay, so with 45 pip stop loss. Okay, so we'll be using a buy market order for a potential upside here. There is still possibility for break below. Would like to see the market to, so I'm entering now on XAUUSD, keeping the stop loss with a 1% risk, stop loss at 4609.80, and setting the TP target at 4622.60. So place that entry here with our previous trades, 37 pip minus. If you want to go up the previous trade, it's gonna be quite well. So if the market breaks this high here, that will bring that market back above 4618. So it's having that rejection back above, and this is a pin bar here, but see that so we are approaching hourly close. Lower time frame, this is a big long pin bar here, and okay, so it's at this support. I think at any point you could see the market to react from that level, as it has done that enough deepening in that area. And guys, if you're enjoying the live session, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done yet, press the notification bell so that you are not missing any of the content that I am posting every day. Looking at here, a break back to the upside. This is a trend trading here. So 1 hour candle closing, you can see that this is 1 hour price action. Now if this 1 hour candle closing potentially above here as a long wick, so I'm looking to see that there is a potential for breaking above here, and that's which way we want to take this trade here, to break that move upside. And once we see the market showing that price action, will be on the trade. So here is, it's getting up, back up again, and I'm on the trade. Okay, so how the candle closing is important here in this area from the 1 hour. The last 1 minute candle close is important. Getting up, and it might form an inverted head and shoulder here. That's what I'm wanting to see, that the market is forming that inverted head and shoulder, and then to potentially break that upside here. By the way guys, have you casted the boat that we see 38 and we see 76% daily resistance break? So 76% is on the bullish side, 24% bearish. So here is pretty stronger confluence from the traders that the market might be bullish. And you can see some, after this pullback here, this is the key level that we can look to see that how the market is reacting of this level here, as there is a 1 hour candle close, and there might be, because there is a coming up unemployment claims in this area, there might be that pretty stronger confluence. Okay, so getting some reaction back above, this is what we're looking at, that reaction to drive that market back above our entry, potentially to go back to 43 pip, 44 pip, at least to move back to the upside can give us significant okay, so if it is breaking below, that's gonna be really interesting. Might be even the liquidity sweep here, or entirely Might be a false breakout before the data. I think it's gonna reject. Very funny move here. Return back again at entry. You see there, guys, this is a really interesting here. So it got back up at our entry. Now to trade this in this market, we got back in the entry profit area. So patience is key, as I mentioned. This is almost to the upside, so I'm holding on to that for potentially bullish bias here. And this is rejected again. I'm still holding on to that to allow that fluctuation to happen. Well, stop loss is pretty tight here, so we have the news coming in 25 minutes. might try to break that low. It's entirely broken back below. So the market really acted very interestingly. So we bounced back up, checked it back again, and we'll be waiting for the data to come up. Haven't taken the break even. Could take that, but now we'll be waiting to see that what happened. Interesting, scanning 1 peep. So with the upcoming news that you can see the market exactly to the point. Depending on your spread, either you are on the trade or no. I'm going to execute a re-entry exactly with the same setup. So I'm on the trade again as just for 1 pip here, depending on how is your the spread gap might be. Keeping that price action. So you'll have still 20 minutes to go. The market is pretty really volatile, and so my trade is running here, depending on to see that what's the market is doing. It might be forming a potential structure for reaction. So see that what kind of, see the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes price action. Okay, so it's creating a multiple narrow, smaller dojis, and those dojis might react back to the upside. And I would like to take this potential move for another breakout. Now if you look at the current 15 minutes price action, the market penetrated back below, has broken out of this trend, and this is a 15 minutes doji. It's still 2 minutes to go, and after that there will be news. So if this one is closing as a narrow body, there is a higher chance for this market to eventually break to the high. And at the same is creating a series of lower high here as well. So how the 15 minutes closing is important to look at. Getting back to the upside as we mentioned earlier. So with the upcoming news, this market is significantly okay, go back up again. Now this market may continue to rise here back above for another higher high. This might end up going back well above here, guys. So this is a sign of false breakout, and you have 15 minutes for the data to come up. It's getting really interesting, and it's just moving in a sideway and slowly breaking below. So you'll be waiting to see the data, how it comes. It's entire break below of this support, and it's the current support level here. So there is a fair value gap here in this area, and might be coming significantly lower. Daily support might be coming to retest again. That is where we'll see the market, and probably the data coming is pretty unusual. So with the unemployment claims, there might be liquidity sweep before us market opens. There has been significant, okay, so especially when there is a surprising like data coming, the market does this kind of liquidity grab. So with that liquidity of the market, if you look at here, it's very interestingly quite a few long week rejection in that area, and the trend is it's a fully bull market. What you could see now before the data, after grabbing enough liquidity, after taking those orders, it might just go straight back to the upside here. Okay, so in those situations, it's better to wait for the market to show up. Okay, now we have 8 minutes for the news to come up. And with that news, see that slowly building that momentum back again after this liquidity sweep. And wait for the price to if you remember, we had during the previous data a big move that we have taken, and I would like to look for the similar kind of setup once you see the market has shown enough confirmation. At the moment, if you look at from here, it has shown the downside momentum, but I think at the end we could see the price eventually breaking back to the upside here. And in that case, if we look at that overall market movement, could be eventually breaking back to the upside here in this market. So I'm still on this one to be bullish with the data to come up. There might be breaking below. Spike could be still back to the upside here. So there is a significant imbalance in that direction. Five minutes for the data to come up. Better to be patient, and then we'll take potential next move here. And I think the market eventually could bounce off that level for the final move. Here the price has dropped to that. This is an order block here, and like our previous trade on the previous session that we have taken final move with the news, I'll be taking the similar kind of attempt here in this trade with a very tight stop loss. And keep in mind, guys, that this is a news move that we are taking. So if you haven't, if you it's a very smaller risk that you need to, because if the market goes opposite, it might end up becoming spread gap open widening. So you can avoid this trade if you want to, because this is gonna be a new trade that I'm expecting the market to bounce off that level. But if the spike back below, it might just take us out of the trade. And this is an attempt for a break-even move for our considering the previous trade. So I'm targeting 100 people with this trade, expecting the news spike back to the upside to take me to the profit target. So with a potential for also with a half risk than normal. Stop loss at 4597.85 and TP target setting at 4618.42. So what kind of still there is no further information here. Spending. It's really weird to see that spending yet. This is a complete break of support. It's big drop here, guys. So it has entirely dropped down back below, and getting the reaction from here. Now, so looking at the 4-hour support in that area, it has entirely broken the previous support. Might keep continuing back today, so there might be change of trend. Okay, so if you look at the daily, it's coming back down here to the daily support. Might be a complete change of trend. Didn't come out anything yet. Okay, so 198k, which was less than the forecast. So if we look at the DXY, that has a significant breakout with the stronger data, so that has dropped that gold back below again, and we are looking at here, the market has entirely broken back below the support level, and with that break, looking at the daily here, the market has, there is a potential for now. There's the market with the weekend opening, it left significant fair value gap. And because it left that significant fair value gap, Okay, so if you look at, it's a massive fair value gap. There might be that the market may come here for another back below here. So now the major trend here is bullish, okay, and the major trend here is bullish. Okay, so if you look at, and that major trend, so if you look at here, the daily is bullish. So there is a stronger volume that has come in the market. So that's because if you look at the major trend here, okay, it's a bull market. Now when you see that this kind of move, this is a entirely a false breakdown here. So there is a high chance that the market will eventually bounce off the level. Usually if you look at this kind of trend, this market after break of a structure, you'd look to see that the market is going again back in the direction of the trend. Now it dropped to that order block again. So here patience, right? So that's what we need to look at. There's a significant imbalance now. It's filling here. So on order block, so it is a good idea now is to wait to see that what's the market is heading to, as we are almost end of the week. So it is not unusual to see that the market is coming back again to the weekly support for, you know, rejection back again. Now patience is key in trading. So, you know, you can take again the next trade perfectly to take what we need. You know, I always think that the market is like, we're just putting on the market, and in the next trade we can get the what we need back again. Patience is key to become a trader. I'll see you again, guys, with tomorrow's live session. We had a few live session, and every day I'm trading during this time. We'll see you again tomorrow in this live session again to trade on Friday. There is no high impact news, but there is, because it's weekend, so we can expect the market to be pretty stronger here. That being said, thank you for joining. I'll see you again very soon. Until that, stay well, stay happy.